Welcome back. It's This Week in Film. Ray's still not here, but Tony's here.
Hey, what's going on?
That's why we adjust the levels at the beginning. And, Tony, you've been gone a long time. Where have you been?
Well, I've been traveling.
Let me interrupt you
Okay.
in your important conversation. Who was that text message from? Let's all find out.
It was from my wife.
What'd she say?
That's not important.
I feel like it is enough that it's not on silent.
Anyway, I was in Hawaii for 10 days, and then I guess we just kept missing each other.
Wow, I missed you every step of the way.
Oh,
That's very sweet. Tony, what'd you see this week?
Yeah.
I'm just
Getting right into it.
Slur, apparently.
This week, I watched a documentary actually called the Barkley Marathons, and it's about one of the most hardest, probably the most hardest trail race.
The most hardest. You said it twice. I was going to let it go the first time, and then you went back for it again.
Really? It's really early.
That was the most hardest phrase.
You just want to start it over at this point?
No, you could start over.
I think we should just start over.
Hey, Tony, what did you see this week?
All right, this week in film, I saw the Barkley Marathon.
This sounds like the most hardest movie.
Yeah.
What?
It's the hardest trail race in the world. And why it's so unique is the fact that, to start off, to even get in, you have to write an essay on why you think you should be accepted. And thousands of people get in, and I think only a very low number. I want to say it's 40 people only get in.
Oh, thousands of people enter and only 40 get in.
Yeah. So
this sounds like the most hardest race to get into.
it is the most hardest. Anyway,
Keep doing it till it's really old.
So if you do get chosen, you pay $1.40 for the registration fee. You have to give the dude who runs it, you have to give him a license plate, and then some other quirky thing, for a while he was like, oh, just give me a pair of socks, a new pair of socks. And then when he got too many pair of socks, he got a shirt. He was asking for people to bring up flannel shirts. It's very anybody can do it. That's the point of it.
Right.
You don't have to be rich to do this race because it's just so grueling. But so you get chosen, you get to it's in Tennessee, and it originated. Yeah, it's in the.
You're supposed to say Tennessee again.
Tennessee.
It's a song. It's very popular. Everybody knows about it.
Not familiar.
I think it's Salt and Pepper.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, it's in
Cinderella.
It's in the South forest. It's in the mountains, in the Tennessee mountains, and it's in the Tennessee mountains, and it originated from the guy who shot Martin Luther King,
James Earl Ray.
James Earl Ray. That sounds correct. So he escaped from prison, which is exactly where this race is.
Which I didn't know.
Yeah, and he escaped for 50 hours, and he only made it 8 miles outside. So the guy who made the race, he's like, oh man, if I was gone for 50 hours, I'd make it way farther than that.
Yeah.
So he created this race, which is basically a loop, which includes the prison. You have to go underneath the prison as part of the race loop. But and it includes crazy difficult portions, where you're running through razor sharp briar patch, you're climbing walls, and the altitude changes so much that once you're all done with each loop is 20 miles. When you run the full race is 5 loops. Once you are all done with those 5 loops, it is the equivalent of climbing and descending Mount Everest twice. That's how much altitude you're climbing and descending. So pretty crazy just from that standpoint. And then you involve all the obstacles. Being the hardest race, it's usually it's no surprise that nobody finishes. There's only like a handful of people that have ever finished it. Most people only do the fun run, which is 3 loops.
It's 60 miles there, right?
That's 60 miles. So yeah, the documentary just basically followed the year in like that year's race, and just the guys who've done it. And I think in the first loop they had already lost, like 60 people had already quit. But they have 60 hours. They have 60 hours to complete the race. So towards the end, you're seeing more and more people drop off. Not to give too much away, but it's a very informative documentary, and it's just like at some point it's just a test of willpower, because once you start the race, your 60 hours just keeps going, and you complete a loop, you go back to your camp, you kind of stop. You only bring with you the map of where you're going with little notes that the guy gives you and a compass, and that's it. There's no markings on the trail or anything like that. You only bring with you like what you can carry on your back. And so like when everybody takes off, rookies like to like kind of hang on to a veteran and kind of follow them along, but the only thing is you got to keep up with them, because the veterans aren't going to wait around. So a lot of people just find themselves alone, and if they can't really stick to the trail or figure themselves out, a lot of them just turn around, and it's like, if you get deep in there, like you can. One of the dudes was out there for like 30 hours and only covered like 2 miles.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's pretty ridiculous. It's a fun watch. It's only about like an hour and a half, but it is insane what these guys go through just to say that they have done it. Like some guys only completed 1 loop and they tapped out. And speaking of tapping out, once you quit, you have to say that you quit, and they play taps like on a shitty trumpet. In the middle of the woods, you just hear this out of tune trumpet, just
like what's the cannon from Hunger Games?
Yes,
it just sounds in the distance.
Yes, but no, very very fun watch if you're at all interested in it, and very interesting.
It sounds fun.
Yeah. What did you watch?
I did the Tough Mudder one time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty elite and an extreme athlete.
So you should try this. You should definitely work on your essay.
It sounds like I should. I'm afraid I'd do too well at it.
Yeah.
Like you made it sound like it's hard, but I would do, like, when I was walking half the Tough Mudder because I was tired, and at one point I almost wandered off the course because I was tired, I thought to myself, I wish this was 9 times as long.
Yeah.
And I was alone. That would have made this race
exactly
so much more fun.
Oh, and the other point is, so because it's so hard to navigate these trails, in the middle of the loop are little checkpoints.
Uh-huh.
The checkpoints are books in a Ziploc bag. You go to the Ziploc bag, you take the book out, and whatever your race number is, because every time you do a loop, you get a new number. So say your number is 10. You go to the book, you take out page 10, and you put it in your pack.
Uh-huh.
And once you complete a loop, you got to go to the leader and give him all your pages, and he makes sure that you have all your page 10s, and it just makes sure that they know you did it. The other guys running the race, they know that you completed the loop, so there's no like shortcuts or anything.
Does each race have a winner, or is it the person who makes it the furthest?
Usually it's the person who makes it the furthest, but I mean, people have finished it. So like when you get down to like there's a lot of camaraderie, and all the people that like tap out, they stick around camp until the race is over.
Right.
So once a guy gets back to camp, they have like, like 20 guys around him, helping him out, like making him food, feeding him real quick, because some guys only spend, like, they're out there for like 12, 13 hours doing one loop.
Right.
They get back to the camp, they're only there for like 10, 15 minutes, and then they go back out again. So they got to eat like 800 to 1,000 calories, get that energy back in them, and then get back out. Some guys sleep if they feel like they have enough time, but
I feel like I should just watch it, but I'm just going to keep asking questions.
Go ahead.
But are there any rules other than like if they get back to camp, can they go to sleep for?
You have 60 hours to complete the race.
You can do whatever you want.
Whatever
over the 60 hours.
Whatever you want. Whatever you want to do, but you just have to complete your race in 60 hours.
Wow, it sounds cool. I think I'm going to check it out. Barkley Marathon.
Yeah, the Barkley Marathons.
All right, sweet. Well, Tony, this week I watched a similar movie.
Oh.
And it was a marathon to get through it.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah. I watched the Nicolas Cage classic from 2011, Drive Angry.
Oh, my goodness.
It was terrible.
So I remember a select few things about this movie. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since I've watched it, so I'm afraid of the flashbacks that are about to come pouring in.
Yeah. So the basic plot of the movie is Nicolas Cage is in hell. And yes, we all were watching the movie, and he escapes hell because his daughter has joined a cult. And while in the cult, she tries to escape with her hippie boyfriend. She gets pregnant. The cult leader murders her after she has a baby.
Okay.
And Nicolas Cage comes back from hell to save the baby. He comes back from hell to save his granddaughter from the cult leader who is a demon. It is not clear.
Huh.
It is not clear because hunting Nicolas Cage down every step of the way is William Fichtner, who is the accountant, and he's Satan's accountant. And he's trying to, bring Nicolas Cage back to hell.
What? Rewind for a second. What year was this movie made?
2011.
Oh my God.
This movie is one of those movies. It was directed by Patrick Lussier, who directed, let me pull it up here. He directed My Bloody Valentine. And, oh, no, he didn't. He's the editor. I'm sorry. Let me look at his filmography. No, he directed My Bloody Valentine. Oh, and Dracula 3. Oh, and Dracula 2000. So he's like
So quite a pedigree.
Yeah, and I'm learning just now from, do you remember Dracula 2000?
No.
I do, because it was awful. Dracula 2000, this is interesting.
Yes.
Because in Dracula 2000, Dracula hates Jesus because he is Judas. Spoiler alert. He's Judas.
Yeah.
And because he betrayed Jesus, he is cursed for being Dracula. That's the big twist in Dracula 2000.
So already
apparently they made 2 sequels to that directed by the same guy. He also, and I'm learning just now, there was a White Noise too.
Wow.
So this guy is a hack director who keeps getting work.
What is that on there? Scream the TV series.
Yeah, he directed 1 episode of Scream the TV series.
Well, I'm going to have to pull up that episode.
But My Bloody Valentine was one of those first movies to come out with like the new 3D, when 3D movies started getting real popular again.
Yes.
And then this movie came out 2 years later, and it is total just an excuse for 3D effects. Every 5 seconds, something flies towards the camera.
Yeah.
Whoa!
So wait, tell me about. I would
love to get into this plot.
take it back. I take it back because I don't believe I've ever seen this movie. What I saw was Nicolas Cage. What I saw was Nicolas Cage, or what I remember, and I'm confusing this movie, was Nicolas Cage on a motorcycle with his head on fire. Which
that's Ghost Rider.
That's Ghost Rider, which I've consistently confused with this movie. So please tell me more about Drive Angry.
We almost watched Ghost Rider.
Oh, that is just
me and my good friend Matt, who's in town. We watched quite a few movies.
And that is a pile of hot garbage as well.
I have never seen it. I haven't seen either of them, which is surprising. All right, so Drive Angry.
Yes.
Nicolas Cage is in hell.
Okay.
Breaks out of hell. Hell is a jail.
Hell is a jail.
And the one idea that I did like in the movie is that Lucifer, or Satan, whatever you want to call him, isn't like the head demon. He's just the warden of the jail that is hell. He's just a warden.
Okay.
I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting idea. Like, he's not like an evil wizard kind of thing. He's just a guy who has a job.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So
who plays the devil? Anybody?
No one. The devil is unmanned. But Amber Heard plays Piper, who is garbage. She's garbage woman who works at a diner, and not because she's not a garbage woman because she works at a diner. She's just trash.
She's okay.
She's just trash.
White trash waitress.
Yeah. And we're introduced to her in the diner of this restaurant that Nicolas Cage is at, where Nicolas Cage sexually assaults a woman and then follows Amber Heard home, basically, so that he can get a ride in her fancy car.
So Nicolas Cage is awful in this movie.
Yeah, he's a bad person.
Morally corrupt.
He's in hell for reasons that aren't very clear. In the movie, they say that he's in hell because he was a terrible husband, but a terrific father, even though his daughter joined this cult because she hated him.
Right.
I don't know.
He was in hell for being a terrific father.
Yeah. And he follows Amber Heard to her car, which he has disabled so that he can get a ride from her, where they go back to her trailer park where she catches her fiance cheating on her, and then she proceeds to beat the crap out of both of them, showing us that this girl can fight. And swear. You know?
Yeah.
Tough chick. And Nicolas Cage, but eventually her abusive boyfriend gets the upper hand and starts beating the crap out of her. And Nicolas Cage comes over and kicks the guy into a wall where an air conditioning unit falls on his head. He's fine, by the way. He's fine.
What are like one of those window units?
Yeah.
You would not be fine.
Not because it falls on his head and we're like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Next scene, totally fine.
Not even a scrape.
He gets up because the accountant, William Fichtner, the devil's accountant, comes by, wants to know where Nicolas Cage is because he's smelling the air looking for him.
Okay.
That's literally what he does. And the redneck guy gives him the business. So William Fichtner then throws a baseball bat through his arm. And he does not react like a person who had a baseball bat through his upper shoulder part would react. He's kind of like, oh.
Wait, was it broke? Was it sharp?
Yeah. Yeah, it's broken in half because he uses the other half of the baseball bat to throw it through his head shortly after that.
I thought it was just like
sorcery. That air conditioning unit falls on the dude's head. Very next scene, totally fine.
Just like a slight bandage on it?
His face might be a little red, but like for the most part, it's like, oh man, gonna be hot tonight. So anyway, the movie continues. It's such an uninspired movie. My friend Matt had not seen John Wick, and so we watched John Wick, which we talked about on the show like 2 weeks ago. And we watch John Wick better every time you watch it, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
And that movie is a terrific example of excellent action, excellent pacing, telling a story without words, like visual storytelling, and
Not overly choreographed fight scenes, but enough to
Right.
make it like captivating.
exactly, like perfectly paced, great editing. This movie was the exact opposite, where it felt like the movie wasn't long enough, so they just put all the action sequences into slow motion to stretch it out. Where Zack Snyder does a lot of slow motion in his movies, like fast motion.
Yes.
Fast motion. And it's like a cow running.
Yeah.
It's in motion.
Wow.
We'll see you next week. No, so Zack Snyder will, like his scenes, say what you want about Zack Snyder, but his action sequences are pretty fun to watch. Like the slow and the fast motion work together really well.
That's his signature.
In his signature. It's what he does best. 300's a great example of that. But in this movie, they just went complete slow motion. There's this scene where Nicolas Cage is just straight having sex with a prostitute waitress woman, and
That's Amber Heard.
No, that is another person. Amber Heard during this scene is getting her toes painted by a naked man.
You see, now I'm confused because this guy left hell to save his child from a cult.
Yeah.
But he's
granddaughter from a cult.
But he's having sex with prostitutes.
Yeah. Waitress. It's a waitress.
He's not a nice guy.
He's in hell, man. He's back. And so this scene, the cult leader somehow knows that Drive Angry is back, and that's what I'm going to call him.
Okay.
They know that Nicolas Cage is back, and they've got to kill him for some reason.
Yeah.
They don't explain why they know that he's there. Or
have they gotten into a car at all to this point?
Oh, there's been nothing but cars.
It's all
driving.
Angry.
And all driving in 69 Chargers or something like that. I don't know cars.
I hate when Nicolas Cage drives. I really do. All of his driving movies suck.
So they keep driving.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, so he's having sex with the lady while all of the murderers come in to kill him. So he just continues to bang the lady while it's happening. And then it's all in slow motion. This lady's freaking out because there's murdering happening. He's killing everyone that's coming in the room. I'm doing gunshots left to right. So you can't see my hand.
Cage has a gun on him.
Yeah.
And he's just
unloading into everyone but the waitress. Classy. It's a classy show today. So anyway, so he kills everyone in the room, and it's so slow and so boring.
That sounds like it could be anything but boring.
It does, doesn't it? It's Nicolas Cage killing a room full of people while he's having sex, and it's the most boring thing you've ever watched.
Huh.
Yeah. And so then that scene ends, and then they get back in the car and drive away. My favorite part of the whole movie is at one point, Nicolas Cage gets shot in the face, and his face is half busted open because of the bullet in his face.
Mm-hmm.
And after he wakes up, because he's dead, you can't kill him. So
he could never die.
It's not very clear, because when he gets shot in the face, he kind of goes to sleep for 20 minutes. He's got to take a power nap, which makes sense.
So
it takes a lot out of you. But I think it was mostly so that Amber Heard could get taken onto the RV that the cult leader drives around in.
Oh.
And so he rescues Amber Heard, and his face is broken. And my favorite line in the whole movie is it's Nicolas Cage just in it for the paycheck saying, "I can still feel it. The bullet in my eye."
Still in there. The bullet. I can feel it.
I'm not doing the line any justice when I say it. I laughed for about 10 minutes when I heard that.
That sounds like a completely ridiculous line.
Oh my God. It was such a bad movie.
So, on a scale of
Numbers to the Rock.
Yeah.
Numbers was worse.
Yeah.
Did you see Numbers?
Wait, which one was Numbers?
I don't remember. I think that was the one with the end of the world.
What I was thinking was 8mm, and that movie was kind of that movie was kind of messed up.
Maybe the bottom of our barrel should be Season of the Witch. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
With him and Ron Perlman?
That's definitely bottom of the barrel.
I think this was worse than Season of the Witch.
I think if you watch Ghost Rider,
I saw Season of the Witch in theaters. Oh, with Matt.
I think Ghost Rider is definitely down there as well. Don't know if it's worse than Season of the Witch, but God.
Was the second Ghost Rider, wasn't that directed by the dudes who did Crank?
I just found out 2 seconds ago that they made a second Ghost Rider. Wow.
Spirit of Vengeance. Ghost Rider's on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show now. Marvel got the rights back to that.
Is it Nick Cage?
No, it's someone with else.
Marginally more talent.
Yeah. Well, Nicolas Cage is a wonderful talent when he wants to. He's just trying to get his money back. He lost all of his money. And so he just keeps taking these terrible movie roles where he probably keeps getting paid less and less because no one wants to see his terrible movies anymore.
You see, when you say that, it sounds like a hard luck thing where, I kind of want to feel bad for him. But before I start feeling bad for him, I see the video of him drunkenly fighting with Vince Neil in a Vegas street somewhere.
And when he was married to Lisa Marie.
Yeah, and then I just stopped feeling bad for him.
She made him sell all of his comic books. He used to have a huge comic book collection. And then Bernie Madoff stole all of his money.
Yeah, well, a lot of people can say that.
Dude, Adaptation is a great movie.
Adaptation is a great movie.
Raising Arizona is good. Nicolas Cage, when he wants to make a good movie, he can. He just doesn't seem to want to anymore. But anyway, Drive Angry.
But
all right.
I do want to give an update.
Oh, wait. Robert Stack from Unsolved Mysteries. Update. All right.
Anyway, I do want to give an update.
Is that the Unsolved Mysteries theme song?
It might be. I think so. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Sing it again.
I
didn't say stop.
Anyway, I have an update. I did watch a movie this week. In addition to the Barkley Marathons, I watched The Invitation, which Ray had talked about on a previous show.
That's right.
He was very mum about the plot because it is one of those things you got to go into blind. I watched it, and being in the spirit of Halloween, October and everything, if you're in for a psychological thriller, I cannot recommend The Invitation highly enough.
Oh.
It was a fantastic ride. Little messed up, but man, some good twists and turns in there. Very, very fun watch. I mean, I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Oh, great. All right. Well, thanks for the update. That closes our update segment of the show. That's our famous update theme song. Now we're in the part of the show where we answer the 19 questions we have on back order.
Oh, okay. So what do we got?
Well, we're just going to get rid of Ray's favorite sports movie question.
Okay, just
Ray was supposed to be here, but then he decided, I got other things to do, like have a life.
Yeah.
And so Ray asked about 3 months ago, what's your favorite sports movie? And one of the rules was it can't be The Sandlot. So people had to come up with other things. So Matt L. on Facebook, he says his favorite sports movie is Field of Dreams. Barb F. says Remember the Titans.
Okay.
I don't like Remember the Titans.
Why not?
It really bothered me that no one understood what racism was. It's the same problem I have with We Were Soldiers, and I think The Patriot, where people are like, I don't understand what this racism thing is. Oh, how could you not know?
Well, I mean, it is a Disney flick.
But still, it was really like that. Nope.
Well, what are some of the other?
Sam, sorry, Barb F. Sam A, she says Fever Pitch, but that she also loves Remember the Titans. And then she says Space Jam 2. Then she says the entire Air Bud series.
Wait, Space Jam 2? She's already seen it.
She's already in love with Space Jam 2, but also the original Space Jam.
Sweet.
Then she says the entire Air Bud series. And he plays baseball in one of the movies called Seventh Inning Fetch. On the cover, he has a little raccoon buddy. And so I said he wears like a thief mask, so I bet he steals second. Because he has a thief mask. The raccoon steals second.
I just want to make a note that we started off strong with Field of Dreams, and now we're talking Air Bud.
Seventh Inning Fetch. Liz G says Trouble with the Curve simply because Justin Timberlake is in it.
Wow.
Chris K wanted to tell us he cries a lot and also that he likes Rudy.
Okay, Rudy's respectable.
Yeah. I don't know why he told
Classic
us that he
sports
cries.
Well, he might have.
It might not be in the right order.
Deep emotional problems.
He likes to cry.
Yeah.
Matt P from Montana says Rocky 4, which is
Nice.
an easy slam dunk.
U.S. versus Russia.
Ended the Cold War.
Yeah.
It really did.
With one punch.
Well, there were a lot.
Multiple punches, yeah. No blocking.
A lot of punches.
No
but one
blocking.
would say when he cut the Russian, that was it.
Right.
That's
He's
when
not
he-
a machine.
that's when he
He's
took-
a man.
He's a man.
Yeah.
That's when he took the Russian's heart.
That's true.
And that's when the fight was over. Rocky just needed to make it. He's like a piece of iron. And then co-host Dan, he says The Replacements, which is an awesome sport.
Shane Falco. Best quarterback to ever pick up a pigskin.
So then we had Dan's Dastardly Question. Dan. Yep. That's
Wow.
it. You've been gone a long time. And he said his question was, what's a movie that you had low expectations about but were pleasantly surprised
Okay.
by? Matt L says The Matrix. It's one of his favorite movies, but he somehow never even saw a preview for it. He goes on to say he was at a theater with a good friend to see whatever was playing, and he ran into some friends who said, you have to see this movie. It's awesome. And there's a Rage Against the Machine song in it. He's a big fan of Rage Against the Machine.
Nice.
And
Perfect combo.
it's a shame they never made a sequel to that Matrix movie.
Yeah, right?
It was pretty good. Then Jeff Heff just says John Wick is his new favorite movie.
I mean, can't blame him.
You really can't. But then Matt P says the first Thor movie surprised him. He thought it was not going to be very good, but then he enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Then last week's Lou's Lunatic Clustian.
Oh, wait, can I add in the pleasantly surprised part?
Going back to Dan's Dastardly Question,
Yeah.
Tony had something he wanted to say.
I want to answer that question next for myself in the future next week. My answer is Drive Angry, because I believe I'll be pleasantly surprised after I watch it this week.
Oh, I disagree. So Lou's Lunatic Clustian from last week was
Okay.
name a movie that it seems like only you like.
Oh.
A lot of answers on this one.
Okay.
And Matt P from Montana, he says Watchmen. And I gotta agree. Like, it seems like a lot of people hate Watchmen, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like Watchmen.
Yeah, it's...
The director's cut, while it's like 3.5 hours long, is a lot better than the theatrical version. Should have said that when our director's cut question. That was like 3 months ago.
Update.
Where's our theme?
No, I can't.
But then a little bit of discussion on the message boards. So Lou watched Brain Donors last week. You listened. The movie Brain Donors.
Yeah?
Lou loves that movie. Most people hate it. Daryl and Kevin both came out singing the movie's praises, while co-host Dan agrees with me that it was pretty bad. Yep.
Wait. Which one is Brain Donors?
One with John Turturro.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Just say it's terrible.
I can't. I've never seen it.
Tony thinks it's bad. But then Dan